Sorachi Ace. It's a hop that we don't see that much, but today's Obsessed with Sorachi Ace is a pale ale from Quantock Brewery. And what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going back to the Quantock Brewery in Somerset. You know, these are one of my favourite breweries. Everything that I've had from them has just been really good. And they do these Obsessed with series. And this one is an Obsessed with Sorachi Ace, which is a bit of a... You don't see this hop very often. Certainly, you don't see it with other stuff as well. It's not in the big hitters. I think I have recently bought a big sort of haul of beer. None of them have got Sorachi Ace in. Very rarely see it. The only thing I know about this hop is it's got coconut and citrus. So makes me think it's going to be similar to sort of Sabro with that coconut sort of flavour. But the best thing to do is to crack this can open, put it in a glass and taste it and see if it is going to be a bit like Sabro. So let's get it open, shall we? Yeah, I mean, as I said, the Quantock stuff's really good. And they do these Obsessed series, which, they have some different hops. Harlequin was a bit of a different one. And they do have other ones like Azaka and sort of more well-known sort of hops. But this one's Sorachi Ace, and I just was quite interested in this because it was a different type of hop. So beer in a glass, it's a slight haze. It's a 4.5% pale, so it's not going to be as thick and as gloopy and as hazy and as you would expect with sort of IPAs and the like. So this is quite, it's very yellow. I mean, the screen's got a slight sort of green tinge, and it's just because of the light that I've got in here. But to me, it's quite yellow and it's got a haze, but I can almost see through it. We've got about a finger or so of very sort of ice white. And it's reasonably compacted. There's a little bit of a frothy sort of fairy liquid sort of type to it. Again, very typical of a pale ale. So let's see what the aromas are like. Yeah, definitely picking up that coconut. It's almost more like it's very coconutty, and I'd almost say that with something like Sabro, the coconut is there, but there's a sort of cream of coconut, if that makes any sense. And there's loads of other things going on with the Sabro hop, but with this one, very, very distinct coconut. It's a very sort of sweet coconut. It's almost like the sort of coconut is it called desiccated coconut? I'm not quite sure if that's the right word, but if you think of your Bounty, you crack that open, smell that sort of coconut, or like the sweet coconut ice. Very sweet coconutty sort of aroma that's got. So let's see if it tastes just as it smells. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, I mean, it tastes very similar to the aroma. Very sweet coconut flavour. Citrus fruits, lemons, limes. But the coconut is very dominant. But it's almost, I don't know, I think the fine with something like Sabro, which is obviously coconut as well, is that it's very sort of strong, and there's so much, there's that creamy mint, the lime, the pineapple as well. With this, it's almost like all of the sort of other stuff is not there. It's very sweet coconut. With this sort of flavour, you'd almost think that someone has sprinkled coconut into your beer. It is that very distinct coconut flavour. Overall, the beer is light. It's got a sort of reasonably soft body. But the real thing is, it's all about the coconut. It really is all about coconut. It has a slight sort of citrusy, lemony sort of flavour. There's not really much else. You're not picking up grapefruits. You're not picking up big tropical sort of aromas. The coconut is so dominant in the fact that if you don't like coconut, you won't like this beer. But to me, the coconut flavour is almost, because you know what you're getting. It's very coconutty. It's a lot more palatable, and I think in a pale, it just sort of washes away very, very easily compared with sort of I'm not interested to see what it'd be like in, say, an IPA, for example. whether it be a bit more dominant. But with this, it's sort of, you drink it, you go, yep, there's coconut flavour, and then it just sort of washes into a sort of citrusy sort of pale ale, and then that's it. It's quite interesting because you don't see it very often. What it says on the can, it says originating in Japan. Okay, it's a hop created by crossing Brewer's Gold with SAZ, SAAZ, and cross with a Belike #2. Well, it's a very sort of strange sort of hop. As you say, it's one of those sort of it's one of those sort of flavours in a beer where you just think, there's coconut in this beer, but there's no coconut in it. That's the weird thing. It's all about the hop. The hop is creating that sort of coconut flavour. I think it looks pretty good. It's always, I've poured it out a few times, and you've got a really nice sort of, it's definitely quite a compacted sort of head there. It's light, it's refreshing. There's that sweet coconut flavour. It's all about coconut. If you like coconut, you'll love it. If you don't like coconut, you'll hate it. It's one of those sort of beers. It's interesting how we don't see it much often. It's not as if we'll have an IPA, which will have your Citra in Mosaic, and then have maybe a Sorachi Ace. It is not used that much. Maybe it's coming to the fore more, but I can't think of another beer that I've seen with it. But I've tasted enough of this. Let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Obsessed with Sorachi Ace. This is a pale ale, 4.5% from Quantock Brewery, based down in Somerset. Make great beers. I thoroughly recommend, if you see a Quantock Brewery beer, give it a go, because I've not really had anything bad from them. I've only had good and great stuff. And this is it's whether you like. If you like coconut, you like it. If you don't, you probably won't. So let's get through those scores quite quickly today. I want to try and do the scores quickly. Aroma wise, well, it smells like coconut. It's light. It's got a sort of citrusy sort of undertone with that aroma, but it's very sweet coconut. I'm giving it a 13 for aroma. Appearance wise, it's a lovely yellowy beer. There's a nice sort of frothy sort of head that seems to be fairly well retained, much more than normal pale ales. It's not as thick and hazy as many, but it's still pretty good. 8 out of 10. Flavour wise, again, it's coconutty. There's a citrusy sort of undertone, lemons and the light citrus flavours. It's a very light beer, this one, because it's a 4.5% pale ale. It's got sweet coconut flavours in it. Think of your sort of Bounty Bar coconut, or your coconut ice, the sort of sweet as well. It's very sort of sweet and very distinctive coconut. If you didn't know better, you'd think there's real coconut in it, but it isn't. It's just from the hop. I'm giving it 33 for flavour. Value for money. Quantock make good value for beers. This was under a £4. I think that's good for a pale ale. I'm giving it 8 out of 10 for value. And my overall experience, well, as I say, it's a light, it's refreshing. It's a coconutty sort of beer. Probably in the summer, it's nice. You're sitting on a beach, you want those sort of coconut and tropical flavours. There's not really anything else tropical apart from the coconut. I'm not getting much pineapple. There's much more sort of citrus, lemony. It's a lemony pale ale with a sort of coconut hit. That's what it's all about. It's very pleasant though, and it's certainly soft and reasonably refreshing in terms of a beer. I'm giving it 13 for overall. Totting those scores up, 75 out of 100. I think it's a pretty standard sort of score. It's a recommended beer, but really what it comes down to is if you like coconut flavour, then I think you'll like it. If you don't, it's not as hardcore, I don't think, as Sabro, and it's not as sort of quirky as Sabro's cousin Talus, in terms of that sort of rose petal-y sort of Turkish delight sort of flavour, which I find with that. This is very much coconut. Sweet coconut flavour, and that's what it's all about. So if you like your coconut, you'll love it. So 75 out of 100, jobs are good, and if you like coconut, you'll like this beer. But what I can say, Quantock make good beer. So if you haven't tried a Quantock beer, you should definitely try one right away. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like it. If you like the content, if you don't like it, don't click like. But if you do like it, please hit like. It helps YouTube algorithm, as it were. If you're not a subscriber, you've just come across this video for the first time, where have you been? Click subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified of all the great beer reviews that we do. We do lots of rock stuff as well. But that's it for today. And until the next one, keep on rocking.